Hi everybody, my name is Grace and today I'm going to be giving you some tips on what to look for in a baker when you're choosing your wedding cake. So one of the first things I want to discuss is the traditions of having a wedding cake. As you know, lots of people use it as the main plated dessert, but modern couples have also steered towards doing donut walls and all these cool other options. People can get really innovative. I just think there's nothing more timeless and classic than a tiered wedding cake. So in that regard, there's lots of traditions around it. So you can serve it as the main plated dessert, you can have it as a late night snack, but most importantly, wedding cake is a piece of art, it is a luxury, and I always encourage couples to use it to tie together your entire coordinated wedding palette color scheme and all of the decor pieces that you're using. Traditionally, when a couple cuts their wedding cake, it is the first bonding activity that they have together. It's sort of seen as like a unity activity for the couple, which is super fun. And using the cake as a photo op is also a great way to get the most out of it and make your wedding cake worthwhile. Cutting the cake is also known as a time where it's appropriate for the early guests who don't want to stay too late. Maybe they have kids at home. It's the appropriate time for the earliest guests to start dispersing from the reception. Many couples choose to preserve the top tier of their wedding cake for their first anniversary, so it can be a kind of a cool little memoir that a year later, if you have wrapped the box properly with cellophane, you can open it up and enjoy it and have a really great memory of your wedding day. So if you're like me and you get really excited about some of those traditions and you're gonna go ahead with a wedding cake, you definitely wanna make sure that it tastes as good as it looks. So when you choose your baker, make sure you taste their product before you book with them. And that can happen in a couple of different ways. If you meet them at a bridal show or a wedding show, that's an opportunity for any baker to bring along samples with them. They absolutely should, and you should have a taste then. If not, maybe your baker is a brick and mortar and they have a storefront where you can go purchase a cupcake or book a private consultation and cake tasting with them. Always inquire if that's available. Some places will do it for a very small fee, or they will do it for free if you book with them on the spot. So ask how many flavors you can choose, how many people you can bring with you. That's a really fun activity to do with some of your bridesmaids. So last but not least, you want to make sure your baker has a brand and a style that resonates with you and goes well with your wedding coordination overall. That means that if you want a super whimsical wedding and you have a lot of florals, you should be looking at bakers who do a lot of sugar flowers and work with a lot of like light textures. Don't go to a baker in that case who does mostly moody cakes and black fondant and heavier designs, because that's not going to be what you're after. If you have an industrial wedding theme and you like super geometric things, then look for a baker who's experienced with doing elevated cakes. Maybe they have the really skinny tiers, for example, and look for someone who's doing some metallics. You want to choose a baker whose portfolio and the work they're already comfortable with matches the theme you're after. Of course, budget and location also come into play when choosing a baker, but if you can find those two qualities, consider these other 3 tips as well. It will really ensure that you get the most value for what you're paying for your cake. If you have any other questions or if you haven't found a wedding cake baker yet, Kenley Creations would love to help. That's a super unique thing about our brand and our company as wedding planners, is that myself, Shiromi, and Rupi also have a background in wedding cake design and baking. So that's something we're super passionate about, and we make sure that doing your wedding cake really fits into all of the other details with your planning.